Pylon listeners, we are back after a wild week 11, and it's not good for anybody here in the NFC North, except maybe the Bears fans because they didn't have to play this week. But let's go around. I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Let's go to the rest of the crew. So we got Remy representing the Vikings.
Skull to the bowl, baby.
Then we got Kinger representing the Pack.
As always, gentlemen, good to be back. Today took an emotional toll on me.
And then last but not least, Barney representing the Bears.
I'm looking at a bunch of losers right now.
Oh, boy. Yep. The NFC North going 0-3 today. The Vikings and Packers in heartbreaking fashion, and then my Lions just turning into the Bears, kind of. And we'll explain that. I'll explain that later. But let's just dive into it here. I don't want to get to my team first. Let's go to your team, Kinger. Just a wild up and down game against the Colts. The Packers lose in overtime 34-31 to Phillip Rivers. So now the Packers move to 7-3. A golden chance to take first place in the NFC by a nice margin. So, Kinger, just you said your roller coaster of emotions. Go through that with us here.
This one was tough. Out of Packers' 3 losses this year, this one I think hurts the most. And like I said, it took an emotional toll on me. That second half was just absolutely brutal to watch as a Packers fan. And I think this one hurts the most because the other 2 games, the Vikings and Buccaneers, you felt pretty, or you were getting the feelings pretty early in the game that Green Bay just wasn't going to compete. Today, it was a game that you felt like, Green Bay came out with a lot of energy. They really played well in the first half, up 2 touchdowns heading into halftime. It was trending in the right direction for them. And then for things to just kind of 180 as much as they did in the second half, really have to sit through 6 plays in the third quarter. I mean, the Colts just absolutely dominated us in the third quarter. 14 play drive for a touchdown, as well as a 10 play drive as well. Actually, I don't know if that was for a touchdown. Maybe it was a field goal, but 14 play drive and then 10 play drive. It was tough, right? 6 plays. You're not gonna do very well, you're not gonna be able to make an impact in the game when you're getting control. They're controlling the time of possession that much. Fourth quarter, the Colts did everything they could to keep us in the game, but it was just still continued mistakes. It felt like the defense was again not where they needed to be. I can't say I was overly impressed, but I'm hesitant to put this all on them because our special teams was absolutely atrocious today. The offense obviously wasn't doing anything in the second half. So all in all, the Colts, the amount of holding penalties, I don't know if you guys saw the end of that game, but all the penalties called, I think the Colts had double-digit holding penalties today. The last I heard was at 9 at one point. Absolutely insane, giving the Packers the opportunity to hold on to their timeouts, not have to use them, trying to tie the game. We get the opportunity to go to overtime, and, Marquez fumbles after making some great plays earlier in the game to keep us in it. And the Colts just, kick a casual field goal to win, and that was that. So it was tough pill to swallow today.
I knew Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kinger, was having too good of a game. Something had to go wrong for him. He was having too good of a game.
Too good of a game. You're exactly right, Big Z. Because he really did up until that point. I mean, he was very impactful in that game. And I still don't know how Rodgers fit that ball in there, that moon ball he had, and how MVS came up with that there at the end. I mean, he made some great plays, and like I already addressed earlier, it's either hit or miss with him. He makes great plays on the field, gets you all excited, and then unfortunately he comes back down to earth at times and makes some plays that just make you shake your head and why does this keep happening to him?
I don't know about you guys, but this game, there was more turnovers in each team's own red zone in this game than I think I had ever seen before. And that really hurt. That really hurt my under that I thought the game was going to go with, because it's not too hard to score points when you only have 30 yards in to do that. But just both teams, but obviously most notably the Packers doing it a couple times late in the game. That was rough.
It's tough to win football games when you lose a turnover battle 4-2. And to start off, Rodgers fumbling the snap on the opening drive of the game. And then coming right back and, Mo Alley Cox, Raven Green making a great play, punching the ball out, Charles Woodson style, getting the ball right back to Green Bay early in the, we don't, Barney's giving me that smirk right now. We don't call it the Peanut Tillman punched up in Green Bay. It's for Charles Woodson. But anyways, we get the ball back. And, again, Rodgers makes a pretty poor throw. You got to say that was on him. He didn't put enough zip on it when he hit MVS. And, I think it was Rocky Sin who had the interception. He made a great play on the ball. But, fumble Darius Shepard off the kick return late in the game. That's an absolute crucial play, unfortunately. That very well could be his last game as a Green Bay Packer. And, again, the MVS fumble, 4 turnovers. You're not going to win games, but the Colts did everything they could to keep us in. And like I said, going into this week, I thought if we could get a couple turnovers heading into this, I was confident that we'd have a good shot to win the game. And we got our turnovers. We got our 2 turnovers. We forced the fumble, and then we had the interception off Rivers as well. But Packers just made too many mistakes down the line, and ultimately it cost them.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the Packers' chances to take the 1 seed now? Now the Saints are all alone. But the Packers do have the tiebreaker over them. But, how do you feel about do you think the Packers can win out the rest of the way? Or is it going to be really difficult to get that 1 seed that they look like the prime position to get?
Yeah, you're not going to rule it out. I think the Packers are definitely capable of winning every single one of the remaining football games that they have left on their schedule. But, it's all going to depend on really them starting to clean up these mistakes and just getting consistent performance. Rodgers in his post-game presser night said that this is the first week he felt like they practiced like a great team, and he really felt good about the energy. He's still coming out here with positive vibes. It is what it is. We just got to see them really string together 60 minutes of football. And again, the special teams is something that has to be addressed. It was brutal today. J.K. Scott was absolutely horrendous. Darius Shepard, again, made numerous mistakes. He got bailed out that one ball, luckily, just barely touched the goal line off the kickoff. Otherwise, we were going to be pinned again there. That needs to be cleaned up. And again, the defense again. I'll tell you what, boys, the one time I was fired up today was this was in the fourth quarter when the Colts are driving, like a minute and a half left, the 3rd and 19. And Pettin just plays a soft zone and sags everybody, 10, 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. They pick up 16 yards and then convert the 4th down. It was just absolutely brutal to watch. And it's like situations like that today, again, dropping Preston Smith into coverage on Trey Burton. Now, granted, Preston Smith did a pretty decent job. Trey Burton played a play, but there's just continued conversations, continued situations where I'm like, what the hell are we doing out there, Pettin? And these things need to be cleaned up in order for them to go get that 1 seed. The tiebreaker does help Big Z, but we got a lot of things that we need to address still.
And I'm looking at your schedule right now, and it doesn't really seem that it's too tough of a slate. Next week you got the Bears, who I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. You got Akeem Hicks probably not playing. It's probably one of the best weeks to play the Bears this year so far. Then you got the Eagles, who I think are one of the worst teams in football. You got the Lions. The Panthers are a tough out, but you guys, if we're talking about getting the 1st seed bye, that's a game you guys got to win. And then it's just the Titans I really think is the only real tough matchup for you guys, because they run the ball so well, and that's not a good one for you guys.
Definitely. And you just mentioned all our opponents there. And Indianapolis today was the farthest the Packers travel the rest of the season. So this was we got a lot of home games going. Again, I don't know how I feel about that, because we haven't shown we're a great home football team, cold weather team. But historically, that's been in our favor. So we'll see what happens. But again, a lot of things that still need to be cleaned up. And, it's at the point where you'd hope that Green Bay does continue to play at a high level and they win these games that they're supposed to win, Barney, to really feel good about going to the playoffs. I still love that 11-5 prediction. I still think that that's realistic. I'm still going to pick them every week because I think they can win every single one of those football games. But, we'll see. We'll see where we're going. We got to – today's loss is not one that's, you feel completely demoralized about. It was an ugly football game really on both sides. And the fact that – we were really in it and had an opportunity to win the game with the amount of mistakes that we made. You can't be completely upset about it.
Yeah, for sure. And Kanger, just a heartbreaking loss, and there's someone else on this podcast that can relate. So Remy, let's take it over to you and the Vikings, who also had a heartbreaking loss today. As Andy Dalton leads a big drive at the end of the game against the Vikings defense to beat you guys 31-28. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not feeling too good. What I'm not feeling too good about is that how actually well we played the game, and it's just you make one mistake and that's the difference maker. Kirk Cousins threw for 3 touchdowns today, over 300 yards, and Cook ran for over 100 yards, had a touchdown. Justin Jefferson had a touchdown, so I was a happy man on my player prop parlay that hit. Cha-ching. But there's that 4th down where the guy that's supposed to stop the gunner just went in for a blitz, and Chris Boyd, who was the gunner, wasn't set, but it was a broken play, and they had the fake punt. They got it. Chris Boyd caught it, and it was illegal formation. So just mental mistakes like that. And you gotta your defense has to step up and make those stops when you're up 4 and they're driving with under 3 minutes left. So I think that's really frustrating. The defensive line only, I think they had maybe like 4 pressures the whole time. It was pretty crazy how less they didn't get to the quarterback. First half of the game only scored 7 points. Second half we scored 21, but it's hard to pull away what went wrong in this game because it was such a back and forth game, and you feel good about looking at the stats and how they played, and it's a heartbreaker. But luckily, I'm rooting for the Rams tomorrow night. We're still not out of it, but there's still a little hope.
Hey, Remy, what was going through your mind when in that scary moment when Cook got popped, and it just kind of looked like he took a while to get up? Did you have a couple minutes where you're like, oh fuck?
So yeah, when he wasn't getting up, I said either he's got broken ribs or it's just the wind knocked out of him. And then I think they went to commercial break and he was back. So it looked like he had just gotten the wind knocked out of him. But yeah, scary moment.
So Remy, did you have any faith on that last drive? I think they get it back with a minute 20 about left, and Kirk Cousins, 4 incompletions in a row right there at the end.
I mean, you always have faith when you witness the Minneapolis Miracle. But no, when in a timeout we had, just driving the ball again, the pressure got to us and Kirk just overthrew it, and I thought we could, all we needed was a field goal, was to get into field goal range. So I was hopeful. Our offense was looking good, explosive. Jefferson was making plays. Thielen is making a case for one of the top receivers still in the league, whether it's, he doesn't have the yardage, but he's tied up there with 9 touchdowns with Devontae.
Definitely
Adams,
in the red zone.
I think he got 10 today. Whose catch was better today? CD's or Thielen's?
Thielen's one-hander was disgusting.
CD Lamb.
I
thought
knew
CD
you were
Lamb
going to
was
say
better.
that, Remy. I thought CD's was better too. CD's was sick.
No.
Yeah, that was a pretty great. Just the ability
CD's
to adjust in
good.
the air like that was really impressive.
I'm gonna go with Adam Thielen's only because I got him for fantasy. So,
So and we always talk about moral victories. Today was basically a must-win. Especially it's not often you get Green Bay losing, and everyone else in the North basically losing or not playing. You have to win those games, especially if it's at home. I know home games don't really mean much now in 2020, but this is a game you're supposed to win if you want to really show that you're a contender, not a pretender. And I think Minnesota has some work to do in the secondary and our corners and our pass rush. We came in banged up every week, but I know we still continue to put up numbers. It's a fun team to watch, but very frustrating. But I still got faith week by week, and Justin Jefferson is just amazing. 5th receiver taken off the board, let me remind everyone.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb was the first one, right? So, and he looks pretty good too. That doesn't look too bad. But I mean, the Vikings, Remy, a 1-point loss to the Titans, a 1-point loss to the Seahawks, and now a 3-point loss to the Cowboys. That's the difference between you guys being like 7-3 with Green Bay or 4-6 where you currently sit. Kind of wild.
Yep, exactly. And it sucks. And when we're talking about we don't have guys like Michael Pierce, who was our biggest free agent signing, or Danielle Hunter, who is our best defensive player on that unit, or Anthony Barr. I think our defense looks completely different. And everybody's got injuries. Nobody has this, but keep in mind we are out a very elite defense right now. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting once we can get all the pieces of the puzzle to fit. But until then, I'm gonna keep being miserable.
And you mentioned this before, but you do have the Panthers and Jaguars coming up, so that can get you back maybe to 500. Then you got the Bucks, the Bears, at the Saints, and then at Detroit. So it gets a little tough down the stretch over there if you do get to 6-6 somehow.
Yeah, it's gonna. We gotta for sure win out and then have some help. So impossible? No. Likely? Maybe. But I'm gonna continue to keep the faith and watch Dalvin Cook be the best running back in the league.
Just pulling this up really quick. I just wanted to pull it up for you. Right now it has the Vikings still with at least 538.com with their playoff odds has the Vikings still at a 20% chance to make the playoffs. So that's not the worst considering where they sit at 4-6 right now.
Yeah, because essentially, within the North, nothing changed, and a couple of key losses on Thursday, and definitely tomorrow night we're Rams fans. So the West, the NFC West is going to be what we're keeping our eye on, and assuming Green Bay wins a division, and we're fighting. We're down, but we're not out.
Exactly. And just the Packers have 96% chance to make the playoffs, 87% to win the division, 22% for first round bye. And then the Bears sit at 36% to make the playoffs, and then the Lions 2%. So that's where the 538 at least ranks the playoff odds. But yeah, Remy, positives and definitely negatives takeaway. Just one last thing about that game. What the hell happened on that last touchdown? It looked like was that Harrison Smith's guy or what? Wide open. Dalton Schultz was couldn't be any more open if he tried.
Yeah, I don't know whose guy that was. They didn't show enough replays for that, but yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Well, look, Harrison Smith was making an audible at the line, and then it looked like it was his guy originally. At least the announcer, who was the announcer today? Jonathan Vilma, right? That was the announcer. He said that it was Harrison Smith's guy. So
he might know a thing or two about bounty gate hunting.
Exactly. So that's the second heartbreaker of the NFC North slate. Let's get to the last. Well, this wasn't a heartbreaker. It's just my heart hurts for this Lions team that I continue to root for and just continues to disappoint me. This is the Panthers, one of the worst defenses in the NFL, worst third down defense in the NFL, and we look like the Chicago Bears offense out there, but except possibly even worse than the Chicago Bears offense has looked at any point this season. It was a shit show. Just unbelievable. Stafford throws it 178 yards, 40 yards of rush, so 218 yards of offense against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. What the hell is going on? I used to be a big defender of Darren Bevel because I thought he ran a really good I thought he ran a really good offense last year, especially for half the season when Stafford was out. He made a lot of adjustments. This season, it's the complete opposite. Today, it was handoff to Peterson, throw a ball on third down, handoff, throw the ball. It's extremely predictable. Stafford only averaged 5 yards per throw today. That is atrocious against one of the worst deep passing defenses in the entire league. I have no I have no fucking clue what the hell what they were planning, what their plan was today. It was a dumpster fire to say the very least. The offensive line looked lost many a times today. In one case, Taylor Decker and Kerryon Johnson both watched the guy run by them, thinking each one had him. Neither of them did, and gave up a sack. Stafford was sacked 5 times today. This was the worst thing I've ever seen. I've been holding off on kind of calling for Patricia's firing, but this has got to be like the last straw type of game. When ownership says they want to see meaningful games in December and by Thanksgiving, and we're sitting at 4-6, 2% chance to make the playoffs because of all the tiebreakers and things of that nature. It's time to go. There's been no improvement. I've been really holding off on saying that because I was really hoping they could turn. The defense looks a lot better, and of course now the offense looks like complete shit. This is Stafford's worst game ever, but I don't think it was even on him as much as it was on the play calling. It was horrible. It was horrendous. Did anybody else get the chance to watch this game? This is the only NFC North game going on at noon.
Yeah, I watched. What's his name? PJ Walker.
Yeah, the
XFL
guy.
legend.
He wasn't even good today. He wasn't really that good, but he moved the ball forward, which is more than the Lions did today.
I don't want to correct you when you said the defense actually played better because argumentatively, yeah, sure they did. But if Walker doesn't throw those 2 interceptions in the end zone, there's 14 more points that could have been up.
DJ Moore shredded you guys too. The Lions look terrible, and quite honestly, Big Z, I saw this floated around. You know, it's a question. How these Lions have 4 wins right now, you should be pretty thankful, I think, that you guys are sitting there with 4 wins because this is ugly.
It's so fucking
Christian
bad.
McCaffrey wasn't there. You don't have Teddy Bridgewater. I think they even had some help, or they had some guys on their line that were messed up, and I couldn't believe it.
No, when it's the Lions, the more people that get hurt on the other team, the better they play against us. I said it to all my Lions fans and my family and such coming in today. PJ Walker's having his first start. Oh, he's gonna have a career day. He's gonna have a career day. That's what happens against Matt Patricia defenses. Now, granted, I thought he played okay, but I mean he played better than Stafford. Like they got first downs, they moved the ball, they made big plays. That's what they needed. That's what he needed to do, especially as a backup. I said coming into the game, the big worry was DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel because of their speed and those crossing routes. And it wasn't even that. Jeff Okudah continues to make the same mistakes over and over. He continues to have bad footwork and get beat down the sideline. That's what happened early in this game to set up that first touchdown. Just bad. Just all around bad. We're getting out coached. Matt Rule, I consider him a very good coach. This is a very the Lions had more talent than the Panthers, and it didn't matter because we got out coached terribly today, both sides of the ball. That's the ultimate. I mean, Matt Patricia hasn't won a game in this division here. I talked to all you guys, and I don't know why I make a bet with anybody. Just my love for the team, I guess.
I'm getting the vibes that I think I think it's trending, Big Z. I think we're going to have a very likely chance that Patricia's coaching for his job on Thanksgiving. I think that's where the point where we're at.
If the Lions go 10-6, first of all, that'd be a miracle. Like any loss could maybe he saves his job if they go 10-6. But I mean, this is really, and they're not going to go 10-6. Let's be real. This is a team that is heading downhill extremely fast, and it's terrible. I'm trying to come up with words to express my frustrations, but I mean, and you gotta wonder after a game like this. Stafford has one more year where he has like 23. I'm looking up his cap hit now, salary. He has one more big cap hit year next year, and then after that, the cap has significantly reduced for him. He has 2 more years left after that. You got to wonder if this is possibly Stafford's last year in a Lions uniform as well. After a performance like this, and the likelihood that Bob Quinn and Patricia get fired, and Stafford being who he is, I've defended him relentlessly for years, and I still like him. And it's almost like I want him to go to a team that's going to put him in contention, put him with better surrounding talent, because the Lions are headed for another rebuild here soon. It's going to happen. if Patricia gets fired, Bob Quinn's getting fired. I think that's the two are tied to the hip. You fired Jim Caldwell because you said you wanted to build a championship contender, and then this is what happens. You don't usually keep your job. So that all that combined, I what do you guys think Stafford would get in the market? What would you trade Stafford? The likely team I see is the Broncos. A team like the Broncos willing to trade for Stafford. How much would the Broncos pay for Matt Stafford if you get 2 years of him? 1 year with like a $23 million cap hit.
I mean, dude, he's got to be worth damn near 30, I'd say.
What?
I said he's got to be worth for 2 year 25 to 30, I'd say.
Yeah. But no. I'm saying what draft compensation can the Lions get?
My bad.
I really don't know much, but I'm like from a team that would kill for somebody like Stafford because I actually think he's very good. But
so Barney, what would the Bears trade for Stafford?
I mean, that is a loaded question.
What would you give up for him?
If we had just like a decent line, I would be prepared to give maybe a second or a third or something like that. But I mean, from our own team, I wouldn't go after a guy who gets hurt and put him behind one of the worst lines. But Garrett Bowles over at Denver, he's playing lights out at left tackle, and they seem to be pretty good at protecting the quarterback. So that might be something that you could get a second or a third for.
Matt Stafford, he gets hurt, but he plays through it.
Oh, I know he does.
I'm
just saying, from a Bears perspective, he would come here and all of a sudden forget how to throw a football because that's what happens.
Do you think the Lions could get a first rounder for him? Because he has 2 years left on his contract after this year, so the team would be getting him for 2 years.
Absolutely not.
I would be shocked.
First.
I would be shocked. I don't even want to.
I really don't think so.
Third maximum.
I would probably say that there is a shot for a second, but I would lean way more towards a third being the best.
I would say second at the least. The
Lions
Lions shouldn't give him up
Stafford?
more than that. The Lions shouldn't give up him for anything less than a second, unless they want to get off the caps. But I mean, his cap hit is not that bad. This year, his cap hit right now is $14 million, or next year, I'm sorry, is $14 million. Then the year after that, it's $20 million, and then after that, his contract's done. So, and considering quarterback contracts in the NFL, that's like median. That's like right in the middle there. So I actually don't think it's that bad of a contract.
No, I don't think so.
And you're getting what some teams think is an elite quarterback for 2 years. So I think a second or a first is definitely well within range.
I think you're dreaming with the first, but I mean, he's what? He's 32. How old is he?
Stafford, let me look. He's 30. Yeah, I think he's 32 or 33.
Yeah, he's 32. I mean, yeah, he's good, but who is looking to give up that kind of draft compensation for a guy who's like, I think he's still very good, and just like what you said, the cap hit's not that bad, but who's trying to give up future high draft targets for an older good quarterback that's only going to play for maybe 2-3 years, maybe?
I don't know. Some teams are desperate, especially if you're someone maybe like John Elway, who continuously can't win in Denver because he can't find a quarterback, or the Bears. I mean, they need a quarterback, and maybe they're a quarterback away from being like a championship contender. There's teams that are definitely willing to overpay for a guy, especially a veteran. If you're getting a rookie quarterback or something like that, you're most likely not winning right away. Look at Tua today; he got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, it's not a guarantee. Justin Herbert, the way he's playing right now, is like very much outside the norm of how a rookie quarterback plays. Like even Burrow's had his struggles this year. Stafford's a proven guy, especially late in games. And he still has his issues. He still throws a pick here or there that's always questionable. But he's way more reliable than you're getting with maybe the wild card you're getting with a rookie quarterback. So I definitely think a team would be willing to pay. But let me just finish about the Lions here today. Just special teams. Matt Prater missed another field goal. That was par for the course. our reliable punter Jack Fox zoomed like some line drive punts today after being good. I'm just no part of our team played. There was no positives to take out of the game today. Defense, offense, any individual performance. Maybe Monty Warrior with an interception that was pretty decent. But outside of that, it was atrocious in every possible way, and it was the worst game under Matt Patricia. And that includes the 40-7 loss against the Jets and Sam Darnold in his debut. This was the worst one because it was hopeless from beginning to end. I mean, truly, truly horrendous from a play calling standpoint, from a performance standpoint. Every aspect of it was the worst of the Patricia era, and it will be ending this year. I thought maybe there's a chance he could get out of it somehow, but no, it's coming to an end. So I can't wait for yet another Lions rebuild in my life. It's really exciting. Get Eric Bieniemy. The GM I want right now is Thomas Dimitroff, but that's without researching all the available GMs. But that's what I'm just throwing out there right now. But that's all I got about the Lions. I'm sure I'll have much more to say later. But we got Thanksgiving coming up, so we'll see how that goes. And Deshaun Watson looked good today, but man, brutal. Barney, let's go to you. Do you have anything to say about the Bears? I know they didn't play today. How did you enjoy your Sunday with no Bears offense to watch? The Lions could have taken your place, as far as watching a porous offense.
Dude, it was nice. At this point, I feel like this, as of late, it's just been scheduled disappointment. On my weekly calendar, tuning in and watching a horrendous Bears game. I really do love the defense that I watch, but it's just hard to get excited about a team that you don't think is going to make the 20-point mark. But I'm going to say something. It might be a little controversial, might rub some Bears fans the wrong way. I'm not a fan of tanking. I'm not a fan of teams doing things to get lower in the draft, because I think there's value all over the draft. But I know the Bears brass and their decision making and how they employ and how loyal they are to their coaches and their GMs. This team needs to be bad, like bad, and not win any ugly games really going forward in order for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace to be gone. And I think both of those guys need to get the hell out of Chicago, along with Ted Thompson, or Ted Phillips. But dude, and it's not like a drafting like I'm not saying let's tank, but it's just like the Bears will, let's say we make it to 8-8 and we go 500 in the last 6 games. The Bears decision making will be like, all right, you know what? Let's just try it one more year, and they'll just keep kicking the fucking ball down the road. And it just needs to be ugly from here on out in order for those guys to leave, because the last thing I want is Ryan Pace manning the draft next year and drafting and kind of mortgaging the future, and being ready to risk more of us Bears' happiness in order to just save his job. So, it sucks, but there hasn't been a game really all year this year that I've enjoyed. I've said that multiple times, but yeah, whatever. Let's see. It's either Tyler Bray.
Sounds like you're torturing yourself watching the Bears. Then are you just torturing yourself?
Offensively, it is torture. But hey, Tyler Bray or the Slaughterhouse. I don't know who's going to be quarterback in versus Green Bay, but should be an interesting game.
Is there no chance Trubisky or Foles is healthy?
Well, Foles' injury is a lot better than expected. I think it's just like a hip pointer, but I'm pretty sure, like a bruised hip on a guy who can't scramble when he's 100% healthy is probably not the guy you're going to lead with, especially to a Packers defense that is not playing well at all, but they have our number. You know, I mean, it's hard not to have the Bears' number have defensively.
What about Trubisky? Is he not going to be healthy for next week?
His shoulder's pretty banged up, and because we didn't have a game, they're kind of keeping everything in house, so not a lot of updates came out and stuff like that. So
all from one play in the Saints game.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, that was his debut of trying to be like Taysom Hill. But he gets banged up on one tackle. But yeah, no, it's ugly. It's been ugly, but I think the future of the Bears, I just think we're so wrong where it starts and where it counts that I would really hate for us to, I think we can win quite a few of these games just because of how really good our defense is, even with Akeem Hicks maybe being out. But I don't want to give the old broad and George any ammunition to maybe let these guys slide for one more year. It's just brutal.
Fair enough. All right. So the NFC North going 0-3 this week. The Bears, you could argue, were the biggest winners this week, Barney. That's got to make you feel somewhat good, although maybe not so good if you're looking for a better result, lower end result by the end of the season. So maybe nobody won this week. Even the Bears winning by everybody losing is them losing. I don't know. But yeah, just all around a low energy here. So hopefully it'll pick up later this week. We got Thanksgiving coming up, the football holiday. At least for Lions fans, some of them look. The Lions can't seem to go to the game, so they always sell out the game, even if they're playing like shit. They can't even go to the game this year. So at least we get to enjoy that. Please give us a win on Thanksgiving. We'll have an episode out right before Thanksgiving, and it'll be previewing everything through the end of the week. So look out for that before the holidays approach. So thank you everybody for listening. This is the Pylon, an NFC North podcast. Instagram at the Pylon. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you everybody for listening. For Remy, Barney, Kinger, a Big Z, everybody have a great rest of your morning and beginning to your week.